Then we will now switch to a video connection with Mr. Melamed. I hope we can get him on the screens as well here. Okay. Mr. Melamed, I hope you can hear me. I will announce you as the Middle East Strategic Intelligence Analyst and founder inside the Middle East Institute. Very welcome to participate in this roundtable. We gave everybody who have spoken so far about 4 minutes, so that also goes for you, to make your statement. I give you the floor, Mr. Melamed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Shalom from Israel, honorable members of Committee of Foreign Affairs of the House of Representatives in Netherlands. I'm an esteemed colleague. I'm very honored to be here. The Israeli-Hamas war is a pivotal moment which also offers unique opportunity for a strategic transformation towards a positive, constructive trajectory. To harness this opportunity, we must pursue a three-pronged strategy guided by 3 pillars. First, we must curtail the Iranian regimes and its proxies, such as Hamas' ability to perpetuate the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. With vested interest in escalating tensions, the Iranian regime actively exploits and sacrifices the life of Iraqis, Israelis, Lebanese, Palestinians, Syrians, and Yemenites to advance its agenda. This aggression has resulted in widespread devastation across the region, as evidenced by the turmoil we see in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. As long as Hamas able to dictate its radical agenda and Iran's radical agenda, there is no hope to Israelis and Palestinians. Second, we must internalize that the prospect of a two-state solution is unattainable in near term. This acknowledgement is not an indictment of either party, but a call to recognize the current realities on the ground. Both Israelis and Palestinians face significant obstacles that preclude them from independently fostering positive change in the conflict's trajectory, much less crafting a path towards peace. Third, instead of clinging to unattainable ideals and traditional paradigms, it's imperative to pivot and embrace a strategy of gradually constructing stable framework as scaffolding to pave a positive path towards durable coexistence. This innovative approach necessitates thinking out of the box. I propose establishing a regional council comprised by key Arab states with official representation of the Palestinian people, supported by the United States and the European Union. The United Nations would formally authorize this council to initiate, promote, negotiate, and sign agreements with Israel. These agreements would then undergo formal approval by the UN General Assembly, replacing any relevant resolutions from the United Nations Security Council. The Regional Council will ensure the enforcement and guarantee of these agreements for a period of 25 years. Among its mandate, the Regional Council could facilitate negotiations and lead efforts to build infrastructure for Palestinian independence. This includes vital tasks such as developing Palestinian human capital, reconstructing and demilitarization of the Gaza Strip, and establishing a necessary infrastructure for Palestinian sovereignty. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melamed. So now we're going to listen to the questions of the members of Parliament present. There are about 7 now, and experience learns that a good question and a good answer takes about 5 minutes at least. So I cannot allow you more than one question each. If we have time left over, of course, we can see how we deal with that. Mr. Veldkamp, please, your question, and also state who you would like to answer your question.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm here to listen and to learn, so I'm not going to repeat my party's statement on this specific conflict, which is not exactly in line with some of the speakers I heard, and I do believe I have to say that what Mr. Rabbani said about this parliament is awkward, to say the least. I have one question that regards a practitioner in this field, Mr. Seri. The Abraham Accords, they're not yet complete. Before October 7, we saw that negotiation took place regarding an agreement between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel. Such an agreement, which could be in the interest of both states within the broader region, if you keep Iran in mind, it could be considered very important in the eyes of Israel and the Israeli public. Could that indeed become a game changer regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? If you look at Saudi initiative, the Arab Peace Initiative of 2002, etc., would that indeed, you mentioned it, could you elaborate on that, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Veldkamp, and I would like to invite Mr. Sheridan to immediately respond. Please go ahead.
Well, the Abraham Accords, yes, thank you for your question. I think that it's related also, I think, to what I said, that we have to find a connection between Gaza stabilization and a political path that should then lead to a two-state solution. Now, let me say that it is very late in the game to actually still consider a two-state solution. We know what has happened. We know that there are more than 750,000 settlers on the territory of the future Palestinian state, and that also the status of Jerusalem is going to be very difficult. I, by the way, recognize two members of the committee who will remember that I brought some members of a dialogue group, Yossi Beilin, Hiba Husseini, and also a Jordanian expert, to this. The Vaste Kamercommissie. This happened before the war. Maybe as a glimmer of hope, I can tell you that we are still talking as Palestinian, Israelis, Jordanian, and now Egyptian experts about these very questions, how to find a political path. And I'm happy that also the Dutch government, we hope, will support this initiative. Now back to your question. I do believe, every war, however terrible, is sometimes presenting a new opportunity. I do believe that Saudi Arabia is keenly interested, and this has something to do with what was discussed in the previous round, I think, of your discussions. The common Iranian threat, as many of the Arab countries are also looking at the axis of resistance, that I do believe that Saudi Arabia would be interested actually to follow the so-called path, the Abraham path of normalization of relations with Israel. But as I understand, and I think it is also very important, Saudi Arabia is asking for a price from Israel, which is recognition of a Palestinian state, a two-state solution. That is also what I think yesterday the Saudi government made also very clear after yet another meeting between Blinken and Saudi officials. So I do believe that there is a readiness here, as never before, from Arab states actually to go at length in embedding a two-state solution also into regional security. So it is an opportunity, I can tell you. And I believe and I hope also that Biden and Blinken are actually working in that direction.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seri. Then we move over to the next parliamentarian, Mr. Tuinman. Your question, and would you like to address your question?
Yes, sir. I would like to address the question to Mr. Melamed. We talk a lot about Israel. I see a lot of reports also on settlers. We ask a lot of questions, we get a lot of answers in the media. We can even pay visits. But however, Hamas and Gaza stays a black box. So my question for Mr. Melamed is, could you elaborate on the position of Hamas within Gaza and how it actually is intermixed and meddled within the Gazan society? Thank you.
Mr. Melamed, the floor is yours.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'll try to do it shortly. Hamas was established in Gaza in 1980s. Hamas is from Gaza. Hamas governs Gaza since 2007. It employs 50,000 officials, 35,000 military personnel. It legislates laws. It charges taxes in Gaza Strip. Hundreds of thousands of people in Gaza Strip benefit Hamas rule through positions, salaries, income, revenues, and so on and so on. Hamas is part and parcel of Gaza. It is correct at the same time that there are many people in Gaza Strip who do not like Hamas. But Hamas, being a very brutal, oppressive terror group, obviously is oppressing any kind of like criticism from within Gaza Strip. We had a lot of examples to that. But it has to be clear. Hamas took over Gaza Strip in 2007, a year and a half after Israel totally withdrew from Gaza Strip. Hamas crushed the Palestinian Authority rule in Gaza Strip in a violent coup in 2007. And there is something very significant to emphasize about Hamas. Many people in the Arab world hold Hamas accountable and responsible already before October 7, let alone after October 7. Many people in the Arab world basically says to Hamas, you dragged Hamas, you dragged Gaza Strip to a dead-end strip, you sacrificed your own brothers and sisters at the altar of the Iranian regime, you are bearing responsibility for the situation in Gaza. And one more thing very significant for those who don't understand what Hamas is saying. Leaders of Hamas in open interviews are saying, we will do again October 7. Leaders of Hamas in open interviews are saying in Arabic, we don't care about the people of Gaza Strip. We care about Hamas. When Musa Abu Marzouk, one of Hamas' major senior leader, was asked in Arabic, why didn't you build shelters for the people of Gaza, but you, Hamas, are hiding in tunnels? He said, the tunnels are not for the people of Gaza. They are for the people of Hamas to save Hamas. We don't care about the people of Gaza, he said. The people of Gaza is the responsibility of the world. This is a situation where, to the best of my knowledge, is unprecedented. Hamas is the only governing factor on this planet that is governing its people. It maintains military capacities. It has a genocidal agenda. And in the end of the day, he is still exempted by many circles in the West. He is still exempted from any kind of responsibility and accountability. This is something that is unacceptable. This is the source of the challenge that we see in Gaza Strip. As long as Hamas is going to be held not accountable for its responsibility, the situation for Gaza people, for Israelis in the West Bank and in Gaza, for Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, there is no hope, because Hamas says, and we should listen very carefully, Hamas wants to eliminate the state of Israel, and if he can do another October 7, he will do that. How do I know? Because they are saying that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Melamed, for this clarification.